If you got into a fatal argument with someone today, a cold, highly bureaucratic machine would instantly kick into gear. The police would tape off the scene, forensics would sweep for DNA, and a sterile courtroom would decide your fate, based on a codified book of laws. It is completely structured, clinical, stripped of all emotion. But for 99% of human history, none of that existed. No police, no prisons, no written laws, and no judges. So, how did ancient humans actually handle murder? How did our hunter-gatherer ancestors prevent a single act of passion or greed from tearing an entire tribe apart? Let's look at how a world without a single iron bar managed to keep the peace. For hundreds of thousands of years, humans lived in small, nomadic bands, 30 to 40 people, where everyone was entirely dependent on one another for survival. Because of this intimate structure, murder wasn't a crime against some abstract state. It was an absolute catastrophe for the family. And back then, when a life was taken, the default setting was the blood feud, or blood vengeance. The victim's family would hunt down the killer and execute them. Then the killer's family would retaliate to avenge their fallen member. This created a vicious, multi-generational cycle of slaughter. And in a world where survival was already a daily battle against starvation and apex predators, humans simply couldn't afford to fight each other to extinction. So to stop the bleeding, they invented a fascinating loophole: blood money. Long before the invention of coins, ancient societies established complex systems of physical compensation. If you killed someone, you and your entire extended family had to pay a massive fine to the victim's family to literally buy back the peace. In ancient Germanic societies, this was known as wergild, which translates to man price. Every single person had a specific material value attached to their life, based on their rank, their age, and their social standing. But what if the killer's family was too poor to pay? Then they had to offer something even more valuable: a human life. Not through execution, but through adoption. The killer, or one of their siblings, would be handed over to the grieving family, permanently, to replace the person they lost, forced to work their fields and carry their name, just to erase the blood debt. It was a cold, transactional system, but it turned an emotional cycle of death into a legal negotiation. But what happened if the murderer was a repeat offender? What if someone inside the same tribe was a dangerous sociopath who just kept putting everyone at risk? Without a prison cell to lock them away, ancient humans resorted to the ultimate psychological weapon: outlawry, banishment. The tribe would completely strip you of your identity and cast you out into the wilderness. And in ancient times, banishment was essentially a delayed death sentence, because foraging alone was nearly impossible. Under ancient legal codes like those of the early Norse, anyone who encountered an outlaw was legally permitted, even encouraged, to kill them on sight. No trials, no consequences. You were no longer considered human. You were classified as a wolf. And if banishment was too slow, the community would resort to something far more chilling: a quiet, coordinated execution. The elders of the tribe would gather, reach a silent consensus that a specific individual was too toxic to live, and secretly assign a close relative of the killer to do the deed. By forcing the killer's own family to carry it out, they cleverly prevented a new blood feud from igniting within the tribe. Cold-blooded? Absolutely, but necessary for survival. As human populations exploded and simple tribes evolved into massive empires, these intimate rules broke down. A king couldn't personally negotiate blood money for hundreds of thousands of citizens. And this is where we see the birth of the very first written legal systems. Most famously, the Code of Hammurabi in ancient Babylon, dating back to around 1750 BCE. Hammurabi's Code is famous for the philosophy of lex talionis, the law of retaliation. You know it better as an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Now, today, we look at that as a barbaric form of justice. But historically, it was actually a massive step forward for human rights. Before this code, a single murder could result in an entire family being wiped out in revenge. Hammurabi's law put a strict legal cap on vengeance. It stated that if a man took a life, only his life could be taken. The punishment had to fit the crime, and no more. Crucially, this shifted the monopoly on violence away from grieving families and handed it to a centralized government. Murder was no longer a private family matter. It was a crime against the state. Today, we have modern courtrooms, rehabilitation programs, and professional lawyers. And we look back at these ancient methods and call them primitive. But for hundreds of thousands of years, Our ancestors lived in a world where the thin line between civilization and absolute chaos was maintained entirely by social trust and deeply personal accountability. They didn't have iron bars to lock up the darkness in human nature. They had to look that darkness in the eye, negotiate with it, and find a way to keep moving forward. Do you think our modern, institutionalized justice system is truly more effective at healing a community? Or have we lost that deep sense of personal accountability our ancestors relied on to survive? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you love exploring the hidden, darker corners of human history in a short, crisp format, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. See you in the next one.